What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Farzy Show here at the Steven Singer Studios, presented by the amazing people at Destination Retirement. We'll get more into our new presenting sponsor in just a moment. Look, we got a lot to get into today. We are live. We're live. I'm going to do a little bit of a chat check today. We got a guest. We're going to do things a little bit different. I still got family to worry about here. Still got my bracelet on from, like having a kid and stuff. So that's cool. I got to get back to the family. But here we go. I couldn't not come on the show today. I couldn't not be live today for a couple of reasons. One, I just missed you so damn much. I missed your chat checks. I missed your Ragerisms. I missed it all. All right. But also, Tyrese Maxey went off last night, as did Tobias Harris. Andre Drummond had 23 rebounds. We got so much meat on the bone there with the 76ers to get into that game. And I couldn't go through today without being live. Being that today marks the 1-year anniversary of the Farzy Show. That's right, folks. The 1-year anniversary of the Farzy Show. It's been 1 year since this show began. And I got to tell you, I didn't know much about the whole YouTube world. I knew a little bit about the digital world. I knew about like views and clicks and all that fun stuff. But I had no idea that we could do something like this. And I am beyond thrilled that we have done something like this. I'm beyond thrilled that Marc Zumoff said, no, Marc, to me. Marc Zumoff to Marc Farzetta. No, don't move to Italy. Stay in Philadelphia. Don't abandon your following. And I was like, Marc, what are you saying? I don't have a following. Because my mom always told me to be humble and stuff. And he said, no, don't abandon that just yet. See where that can go. And I said, right. And then, of course, Josh Weinfeld of Buzz Sports and Entertainment said to me, you got to own your own content. That's not where things are going. That's where most things already are. And here we are, a year later, owning our own content. Close to 2,000 the YouTube subscribers, thousands of views every single week with all our videos that we combine over social media, all the social media platform, sponsors, advertisers, growing list there. I can't thank them enough for being the financial backers of this show. Steven Singer, thank you so much. And once again, welcome into our brand new presenting sponsor, Destination Retirement. I am just beyond thrilled. Sky Motorcars has been a great supporter of this show, but mostly what this comes down to, the great people of WinView as well. Mostly what this comes down to, is you, the viewer, the person watching the show, the person listening to this show. If this wasn't taking off, if you guys weren't consuming this content, as they say in the industry nowadays, we wouldn't be anywhere. And you guys are just incredible for that. So thank you for watching this show. Thank you for trusting me with minutes of your day. I really appreciate that. And for all the people that get up early, and of course, it's 6 a.m. and watch this show live, thank you. I feel like I'm saying thank you a lot this week. And you know what? I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. So thank you for all the good people there. And I have to say this as well, because these guys have been a great sponsor in the Philadelphia area for a lot of years. Rothman Orthopaedics, when they reached out to me and said, we see the show, we want to get involved, I was just beyond thrilled with that. And they're just great people to do business with. They're great people to go to for all your orthopedic needs. As I've said many times, I've gone there myself. I trust them for myself, so I'm going to go ahead and recommend that. Same thing with Steven Singer. If I'm not using these people, if I'm not going to these people, if I don't know these people, I'm not recommending them to you. And sure enough, I do that with our sponsors, Rothman, Steven Singer, and our brand new sponsor, presenting sponsor of the show, Destination Retirement. So let's jump on into what has made this show so much fun, and that's talking sports with you guys. So let's start it off with the 76ers and Tyrese Maxey in his game last night. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, because I like to consider myself a fairly honest fella. I saw Joel Embiid wasn't playing last night, and I saw how well Ja Morant was playing, and I saw how well the Memphis Grizzlies were playing, and I said, well, by golly, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bet against the Sixers tonight. 4-point spread. And I'm going to say, you know what? I like the Grizzlies covering that. And there were a couple of opportunities where the Grizzlies could cover that. But I'll tell you this, the Sixers were fighting it out throughout the entire game, and I was thinking, that's not such a safe bet. Maxey was playing phenomenal basketball throughout that game. Tobias Harris was playing great basketball throughout the game. Danny Green was hitting shots for you. Andre Drummond was ripping down rebounds, getting you 16 points to go along with 23 rebounds. It just looked like everything was coming together, and every single Sixer when Joel Embiid, when he realized he wasn't going to be playing in this game, every Sixer just said, well, it's time for me to do my job. And that's exactly what this team did last night. If you're Doc Rivers, you got to be extremely proud of this group. And everybody in attendance at the Wells Fargo Center looked like they were losing their damn minds when Tyrese Maxey capped it off with that sprint-out breakaway layup. That was a beautiful assist by Matisse Thybulle, who had the presence of mind to get that rebound with the Sixers up 1 and the seconds ticking off the clock as the game was coming to an end, to get the ball out of bounds and just throw it over his head down the other end of the court where it just happened to hit an in-stride Tyrese Maxey, who capped it off with that layup to make it a 122-119 76ers win. I was just so impressed. Now, there were some struggles in this game, no doubt. There were some struggles. But overall, what you wanted to see, in a game where you didn't have your superstar in Joel Embiid, you wanted to see this team take a step forward. See if you can rely on some of these guys to step up and be the star without the superstar, Joel Embiid. And that's exactly what Tobias Harris did last night, to the tune of 31 points. That's exactly what Tyrese Maxey did. Everybody else stepped up and played their role phenomenally well. But they stepped up in that regard to make sure they filled in for a guy like Joel Embiid, who was just getting a night of rest. And what I said after the game, that Tyrese Maxey is a star. Now, he just has to learn to play like that when he has the superstar, Joel Embiid, next to him. Now, some people might look at that and say, oh, what are you talking about? Pump the brakes, whatever. I think what's implied, and not even implied, but just quite frankly, I say, is that Tyrese Maxey, if he was playing on any other team and he was playing like this, not necessarily, 33 points a night, but if he was shooting in the 25 to 30-point range, we'd be looking at that and going, oh, wow. Imagine this. Tyrese Maxey's on any other roster. And Ben Simmons isn't on that roster. And Tyrese Maxey is the starting point guard / shooting guard of that team. Assuming he'd be a shooting guard somewhere else that had a point guard because he's never played point guard before this year. But if we were watching him from afar on any other roster, and that team got brought up in trade conversation and trade speculation with Ben Simmons, we'd be looking at it and be like, oh, well, you got to get Tyrese Maxey. You would want Tyrese Maxey on this team. You would want a point guard shooting guard that can slash through the lane, can hit shots from the outside, hit his foul shots, is getting better at threes, young guy like that. You would want that guy on this roster playing with Joel Embiid. And here's the fun thing. He's already here. So that's what I look at, because you want to make sure you get a star player in return. If we were looking at this guy on Tyrese Maxey on any other roster, and they were brought up with trade speculation with Ben Simmons, we'd go, well, you got to get Maxey in this deal. Like, you got to get Tyrese Halliburton in a deal for Sacramento. Oh, you got to get Tyrese Maxey in this deal with whoever. That's how I think we should be looking at Tyrese Maxey right now. Now, here's the great part. Yes, he's probably still going to be dangled out there in trade conversation regardless from the Sixers, maybe even a package with Ben Simmons. But he has certainly made this job a lot more difficult for Daryl Morey. One of the other things that crossed my mind last night watching this game was one of the things Morey said when he was being interviewed with Mike Missinelli 2 weeks ago. I thought this was interesting. They might not have to get as much in return for Ben Simmons because of the way this team is playing with Joel Embiid, and because of the way this team is playing maybe without Joel Embiid. Meaning, if Joel Embiid is playing this well, then they don't need that much return on their trade for Ben Simmons to make him a legit contender to win a championship or even win the Eastern Conference, which, by the way, right now, they're only a half game out of first place in the Eastern Conference. So if Morey is looking at Joel Embiid and saying, oh, he's playing that well, so we don't need to bring us anybody in return that could be maybe a top 20 player in the NBA. Well, if he's looking at that with Joel Embiid playing the way he's playing now and has already moved back from, 20 to 25 to now 30 to 40, as he said with Mike Missinelli a couple weeks ago, well, then if he's thinking that right now with Joel Embiid, we don't need that top-tier player to now get to be the most competitive team for a Eastern Conference title. What is he thinking with Joel Embiid playing the way he's playing and Tyrese Maxey taking giant steps forward in his career with how well he's playing basketball? So if you have those two guys, and then you also have Tobias Harris, who has started to play some pretty damn good basketball as of late, if you're Daryl Morey, you're sitting back and you're thinking to yourself, well, hold on. With Joel playing at the level he was playing at, I didn't have to make a huge acquisition. And now if Tyrese Maxey can play around this level, again, he's not going to get 33 points with Joel Embiid in the lineup because the offense is going to be run through Joel Embiid. But if you know you have that type of player in Tyrese Maxey, and you have that type of player coming back in Tobias Harris, where he is starting to get back at the level that the Sixers traded for when they brought him here originally from the LA Clippers, where ironically he was playing under Doc Rivers. If you have those three guys playing at a very high level, then maybe you're only thinking about bringing in more bench help. Maybe you're only thinking about maybe that guy that's a top 40 player, the 50 player, as opposed to a guy that is a top 25 player, a definite all-star. Maybe you are going a lot more closer to the all-star caliber, but not necessarily an all-star player. If you're Daryl Morey and you started by talking about Joel Embiid and how well he's playing right now and how close you were to winning a conference, well, then what are you thinking right now, looking at the way Tyrese Maxey has progressed, Tobias Harris has started to come around, and the guys off the bench like Andre Drummond have also started to do a hell of a job with this lineup in the way that they've been playing so far. If you're Daryl Morey, maybe you're not thinking big splash. And if you're Daryl Morey, I certainly don't think that you're thinking to yourself, oh, yeah, no, this is the time to trade Ben Simmons. I don't think you're thinking that at all. I think what you're thinking is we're getting closer and closer to being a team that can really compete for this conference. You got the Bulls and the Heat sitting atop the Eastern Conference with the Sixers a half game behind them with 31 wins on the season, 5 straight wins, and 16-4. That's 16-4 in their last 20 games. Some fine people. I told you guys I was going to go back in the comments after the show aired and just see what people were saying to follow along with the chat check and all that stuff. And sure enough, that's exactly what I did. And some people pointed out to me yesterday, I said the Sixers were 15-14 in their last 19 games. So I think as many people would say, that didn't make any sense. So I apologize for that misspeak, but I also appreciate the people that kind of realized what was going on there. But I think, and this isn't what people want to hear. I understand that. They want to hear, oh, no matter what, you'll trade Ben Simmons at the deadline, which is now not including today, 9 days away. I think what people want to hear is that, no, you're still going to go for top dollar in return for Ben Simmons. I don't think Ben Simmons is getting traded at this deadline. And I don't think you're going to get a top dollar type of investment in return for the Sixers if that comes to their starting five or if it comes to coming off the bench this season. I don't think it's going to be a wowing trade deadline move for Daryl Morey. That's my prediction for the 76ers. And I think, again, if you go to Joel Embiid and you look at Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey and you think these guys can sustain this level of play with Joel Embiid in the lineup, then I don't need to make that top-tier acquisition. But that's the way it seems to be shaking out right now for the Sixers. Now, let's get into some of the things that they were saying after the game last night. We'll start it off with Doc Rivers as he was talking about Tyrese Maxey and his game and overall improvement this season. Here's Doc.
Oh, he was great. You know, they were picking on him on the other end, obviously, with Bane. But we needed him on the floor. I thought that play at the end with George stepping up, him going downhill, it really put them in a bind because if you don't go with Tyrese, he's getting the layup. And if you do, then George is getting the 3. We had all shooters on the floor. But Tyrese, overall, 8 assists. I thought it was his best passing game overall as well. We talked about that they're going to help. And if you just make the flow passes, we'll get good shots.
Exactly what he did last night. Really, this entire team was on fire in that regard last night. And we talked last week about Tyrese Maxey stepping up and kind of learning the point guard position. And we talked about how when Shaquille O'Neal was ripping Ben Simmons, one of the other things that he said during his time on TNT that night was how he had a conversation with Russell Westbrook about pace of play and going fast, going slow, going fast, going slow, changing things up. Kenny Smith talked about the same thing about how the advice like that changed his career because you couldn't always be 100 miles per hour. You got to be 30, then 60, then 100. And then, throw in a couple of 40, throw in a couple of 60. Well, 40 is not so bad. But you have to throw that stuff in to make the defenders keep guessing. And that's something I think Tyrese Maxey needs to learn. The other thing, and I think that'll come along in his maturation process as a point guard. The other thing, and Doc also pointed this out in his post-game press conference that he has to kind of get a better grasp on, is the point guard instincts. And I got to give a shout out because I always think about this because I don't think this has ever changed. I think this is so true. You guys remember when we started the show, my old basketball coach, Al Mayo, my 8th grade basketball coach at Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Doylestown. He made us the T-shirts, the Farzy Show T-shirts. He and another coach I had, Mike Carty. Coach Carty, just both these guys have a very special place in my heart. Love both these guys. Coach Carty always said point guards aren't created, they're born. And I have never disagreed with that. But you can certainly learn to be at least a good point guard, maybe not a great point guard, but he could certainly learn and be coached to become a pretty damn good point guard. And I think that's what Tyrese Maxey is getting into right now. He's working his ass off to try to become a great point guard. And I think he's got guys like Sam Cassell, he's got guys like Doc Rivers right there that can help coach him up at practice to then develop those instincts so that they become second nature, so that when he's driving to the lane, he already knows he's got a Seth Curry open in the corner for a corner three. He already knows he has somebody else streaking that he can just throw his little simple bounce pass to, like an Andre Drummond or a Joel Embiid to slam it down. Something like that. Those instincts, you don't just have, if you either have them or you don't. But I think you could be coached into having better instincts as your career goes on. And in year 2 with Tyrese Maxey, I think he's coming along pretty nice. And I hope the Sixers can coach that up. Now, that's the nice thing I'm going to say about the Doc Rivers fella. Because bottom line is they beat a better team last night. A team that was better than them, they beat. You're talking about a team in the Memphis Grizzlies that are third in the Western Conference right now in a really tough Western Conference. They came into last night's game with 35 wins. Sixers went in with 30. So you're watching the team take on a better team. You're watching the Sixers take on a better team like the Memphis Grizzlies. Doc Rivers is a coach. He deserves credit for helping this team overcome that team. Good for him. How the hell do you get teed up at the end of regulation awarding a free throw to your opponent before overtime even starts? How does that happen? What the hell was that? And look, make no mistake about it, and I feel like I have so much more credibility. Any Sixers fan has so much more credibility when they rip refs after a game that they won. So it's not sour grapes. It's an astute observation. The refs were terrible last night. God-awful last night. Hideous even last night. And yet somehow the Sixers won this game. If you're Doc Rivers, how are you losing your mind at the end of regulation going into overtime, knowing full damn well if you charge an official, you're going to get teed up? And Doc Rivers came foaming off the bench after Seth Curry missed a baseline jumper. They thought he was fouled. He probably was fouled, but it was a tie game. Seth Curry had the opportunity to win the game with a baseline jumper as he's streaking down the court. He pulls up, 2 defenders on him, some contact. He goes down like a sack of potatoes. No call. Going to overtime. Doc Rivers comes onto the court. That's my Doc Rivers. And his mask is flailing all over the place. And he's like, what the hell was that? And tweet, tee him up. They award a foul. So before you even had a second tick off the clock in overtime, the Sixers are now down a point. I don't have many friends at the Elias Sports Bureau, but I got to imagine that's not really happened a lot in the NBA, where you go to overtime, where you're tied, folks, for those that don't understand, and then you're down. All of a sudden, you're losing before you even jump it up in overtime. Thanks a lot, Doc. Thanks a lot. Anyway. Thanks to all the good people in the chat. I am going to be getting to you guys in a second. We are going to do a chat check today because, again, we are live. We got Derek Gunn coming up in just a minute, but I want to make sure everybody gets their just due. Let me tell you about my friend Steven Singer of Steven's. Oh, what am I doing? Let me tell you this real quick. Did you see this last night? I want to show you Joel Embiid, who had the night off. This was him running in the tunnel, if you hadn't seen it. Check this out. This is courtesy NBC Sports Philadelphia.
Good Joel. He was back in the locker room watching this one, and here comes your Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Come out to the court, baby.
Look at the joy. One more time.
Good Joel. He was back in the locker room watching this one, and here comes your Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Come out to the court, baby.
It's like that's a leader right there, man. That's a leader. And here's the other thing about Tyrese Maxey taking those steps forward real quick. Joel Embiid is the guy that at the press conference 2 weeks ago was telling Tyrese Maxey, you got to shoot. You got to hit threes. You got to find guys on assists and all that stuff. Like, having that type of encouragement from a Joel Embiid, an MVP candidate, that's got to be incredibly encouraging for a young guy like Tyrese Maxey, who's never played the point guard position before and is learning it on the job at the NBA level. And I'm going to do something here, folks, that, you know what? You might not like me for it. You might not like me for it. You might say, damn it, Mark, you betrayed us. But I'm going to tell you this. Thank you, Ben Simmons. Without Ben Simmons being the guy that Shaq talked about, the crybaby, without Ben Simmons crying, we don't see this from Tyrese Maxey. We still think we have a good spark off the bench in Tyrese Maxey, and maybe one day he'll work his way into the starting lineup. Without Ben sitting out, without Ben poo-pooing a lot of the season, we don't see this from Tyrese Maxey. So, hey, Ben, at least for that, thank you. Much appreciated. Without Ben Simmons, a $33 million player, the 76ers are a half game out of the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. 1 year after being the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. Ben Simmons, bye-bye. Sixers still very much in contention for that number one spot. Once again, in the last 20 games, they've won 16 of them. They've won 5 in a row. Joel Embiid has been unbelievable over the last month, really, of the season in particular. And to see Tyrese Maxey play the way he's played, to see Tobias Harris improve since the night he was booed. So booing works. It's science. I didn't make the rules. But to see this team progress to the point that they have, I am very curious to see. Because, again, I don't believe Ben Simmons gets traded, but I'm very curious to see what Daryl Morey does at the trade deadline. And also, one other guy, I know I mentioned him earlier, but I also want to give him credit. Matisse Thybulle was, Dean, I know Ja Morant had 37 points last night. But Matisse Thybulle, I thought, the refs bailed Ja Morant out on a number of occasions last night, and I thought Matisse Thybulle played a great game defensively, especially on the final possession of overtime, where he just had his hands at his sides, like his hands up by his head, so he wasn't fouling, and he just, kids, that's how you play defense. For all the kids at home that want to play, that's how you play defense. Watch Matisse Thybulle at the end of that game just guide Ja Morant into traffic, into the lane, where he had to kick it out to the corner for the corner three that was obviously a miss. That's how you play defense, folks. So there you go. Let me tell you about my good friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. I hate Steven Singer. Steven Singer makes getting the perfect Valentine's Day gift so easy with his brand new rose color. Emerald City, picture it, a real dipped rose, dipped in 24 karat gold. And if you haven't seen it, boom, there it is, folks. Look at that. 24 karat gold, sparkling, deep green petals. This magical Emerald City rose will take her breath away this Valentine's Day. As she opens it up, she'll see this beautiful gift box, and it'll reveal an enclosed and brilliant 24 karat gold dipped rose. Stunning green petals. Don't leave her, don't leave her green with envy. How about that? Yeah? That is if you don't buy it for her. So it'll be green with envy, looking at all her friends open up this beautiful thing. Huh? Go to Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Go there today and get your Steven Singer Emerald City green 24 karat gold dip rose. Get yours today before they're gone, exclusively and only available at Steven Singer Jewelers. Just $59 is the perfect gift for Valentine's Day. Fellas, it's an easy one here, folks. Steven Singer makes it so damn easy. Fast and free shipping, and it arrives in time for Valentine's Day. Real jewelers, real roses for the real love of your life. Steven Singer Jewelers. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. And once again, the Farzy Show is presented by the great people of Destination Retirement. Michael Siebert, ladies and gentlemen, RICP, is a financial advisor for Eagles fans only. I'm not making this up. I'm literally reading their mission statement. Michael's mission statement. You heard that right. Eagles fans only. Wants to make sure he's taking care of Eagles fans in their retirement. His firm, Destination Retirement LLC, is a full-service planning firm and an affiliate of 1847 Financial. Let him create a written financial plan for your accumulation years and your distribution years. With pensions few and far between, you're on your own when you retire with only a 401k or an IRA. Let Mike help you turn your assets into efficient income streams that you can't outlive. How great is that? Michael Siebert, make sure you guys check him out. He's here to plan out all the spaces, all the places you can really with your retirement. If you're in your retirement and plan, you can also do a plan that helps alleviate people's biggest fear, running out of money. With stock market volatility and taxes probably going up, you need someone as your financial head coach, people, with the experience to tackle these obstacles. With over 30 years of experience, Mike is committed to helping Eagles fans get to and through retirement. You can reach Mike at 848-275-6035. That's 848-275-6035, or visit destinationretirement.com. That's destinationretirement.com. Click on Find Out at the top of the page and fill out the questionnaire to see how prepared you are for retirement. We'll get back to you and talk to you more about this and how he can help you, and also how maybe you can help the Birds as an Eagles fan. Because again, only for Eagles fans. Check out my man Mike Siebert right there at Destination Retirement. Go Birds. Thanks, Mike, the new presenting sponsor of the Farzy Show. Let's get into our chat check, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what the good people of Philadelphia are up to and the followers of this show. I don't have it for you, unfortunately, but Jim Lynam dropped an incredible Philadelphia, what do you call it? Philadelphia colloquialism. Totally. He said totally, but he said totally last night, and it was hysterical. It was all the rage on social media. Anyway, chat check Mally. If I could, would you? What's going on? Why are you guys cloning me? I'm okay with that. I don't think my wife would mind. They clone Marc. That's how he will be all over the place. PJ found cloning machine on Wayfair. Mally, use guys. By the way, Dan Schwartz reached out to me. Knew we were going live today, and he just said hi. That's it. He's saying hi to everybody, and then dropped a random seal ski and took off. Good morning to you, Kevin. Good morning once again, Mally. Fuji, what's going on? If I could, would you? Marc must have bet the over on Maxey last night, so he came on live today. No, quite the opposite. I didn't bet the under. I didn't even bet Maxey last night. I bet the over on John Moran. I was all about the Memphis Grizzlies last night, just for money. And no, I'll gladly lose money if it means my heart lives on and is happy with the Sixers winning, just like last night. Audio is solid though, unlike halftime. That was pretty funny last night, or on Sunday when the speaker was just too damn loud. Marc's shirt closed today. Is it closed? No, I got the. Come on, baby. I ain't gonna leave you like that. Come on now. If I could, would you? High and tight with the shirt. Yeah. What the hell? Stop jumping around, chat. Not you guys, me. Literally, I'm jumping. It's going bonkers on me today. That's very nice of you. If I could, would you? Truly the best reason to be awake from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Mally, I appreciate that. Oh, you guys are awesome. A lot of congrats for the show being done with 1 year. It flew by, man. It's been a lot's been accomplished in a year. I painted my house. What did I do? I did the demo. Oh, by the way, I told you that the furniture was extremely delayed. It's coming today, baby. My wife and I are moving up to the third floor. Kids are getting the middle floor. So we're excited. Team Farzy, thank you. If I could, would you? GOAT status, Don Vito, you're too kind. Big week from Team Farzy. Dante, thank you. Taylor, what's going on? Congrats, King. Is that me? Thanks. As a viewer, hilarious. As a sound engineer, nightmare. Oh, is the sound bad today? Is that on me? Miss Guzzi. Maybe it's because I'm loud. No, we're fine. All right. Marc's shirt closed today. Miss Farzy said, "You're a father of two now. Act like it." I imagine, I think about my dad. I love my dad. My dad's great, but very rarely do we sit around with friends and we talk about how great our parents are. So we always laugh at the things that we think our parents are like nerds for. And I'm like, I think my kid's going to have a lot of material. My kids are going to have a lot of material on like Dad the Nerd. You know what I mean? And one thing that will really hurt my feelings in later years, one thing that will really hurt my feelings is if my kids tell me I could never fix anything. Like that will break my heart. Though I think I'll have it covered on like feeding my family and like having a roof over the head. I'll do all that. I'll have that fine. But if in 20 years, my kids are coming back from college and they're like, oh yeah, well, remember that time Dad tried to fix the fill in the blank and it exploded? Like that'll break my heart because I feel like I know what I know and I don't try to go beyond that when it comes to the realm of being Mr. Right Wrench or Mr. Good Wrench, whatever. That'll hurt my heart. And one of the things that I think that they'll also make fun of me for is my not buttoning the top two buttons of my shirt. Hey man, that's my vibe. That's my vibe. And then it was like, Dad, you can't say vibe. And I'm like, kidding me? I created you. I can say whatever the hell I want. How about that? I like the line from Seinfeld in his act. There's nothing better for men than to be like, to hell with people, or to hell with society. I'll make my own people. Love that line. More comments on my shirt. Baby and 1 year Annie. Yeah, thank you, Dante. April and what? Hold on. April, what's going on? Time for the new that I did, April. I did. Okay, April saying time for the New Balance sneakers and Marc and cookout wear, basically. Cookout sneaks. April, I'm going to be honest. When I thought about going to the hospital before Leo was born, I was like, I need dad attire. I need to get a pair of New Balances. Actually, my dad never had doesn't have New Balances, never owned New Balances. But like my dad, my brother and I, we've talked about it. Like my dad had like a uniform for a good like 10 years. That would kind of like my dad would have a go-to uniform. My favorite was the black on black tracksuit. That was by far my favorite. Now, as you guys know, my dad's Italian. My mom's mostly Polish. Seeing my dad, who could be Tony Saragusa's like twin brother, at like any of my sporting events growing up in a full black on black tracksuit and like sunglasses was just like, so Marc, is your dad in Sopranos or something like that? And like, my brother and I, we ate that up. The other was my dad would wear this green sweatshirt and these like, it was like loungewear in the house. This green sweatshirt. It was like Kelly green sweatshirt and these like dark blue pants. And I'm like, I should wear that to the hospital, or at least wear that coming home from the hospital. I didn't do it because I don't know where you find, like, it wasn't even Kelly green. It was more like a cross between Kelly green and lime green. And I just don't know where you buy that. Plus if it's a sweatshirt, I can't unbutton the button. So what am I going to do there? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's a lot on that. Sushi, what's going on? Thank you so much, Sushi. Appreciate it. Julian, what's going on? Nice to have you. Sean, thank you. Zach, you guys are great. Wait, it's Farzy Jr.'s birthday? No, it's the Farzy Show's birthday. Farzy, and it's not Farzy. Well, I guess it would be Farzy Jr. But no, for those that missed it, my wife and I had our second child, Leonardo Lou Farzetta. He was born last Wednesday at 10:22 in the PM, right after the Sixers won. So there you go. Sean, imaginary arguments with your kids from the future. You have arrived as a parent. Thank you. These are the things I think about. You guys are fantastic. Oh, Josh jumped in the comments here. Why was somebody ripping Kevin James? And Josh is like, "Oh, don't you? No, you don't." Mally, an Italian man in a tracksuit. Don't talk, just run. You know, I will say this: I've heard from Italian Americans that Italians are like the last group of people that you can make fun of publicly with like no retribution, and that's not fair and all that stuff. And like I know I should, but like here's the thing: as a half Italian, is that like I don't want to fight a battle that's not mine, I guess. And yes, I'll fight a little bit of the battle because it's my family, and it's a country I got married in, for crying out loud. But I'll say this: I've always thought that was more of a compliment to the Italians than anything, because it's like people like will rip or make fun of the heritage or ethnicity. And I think as I talked like that, but I feel like you sit back and go, yeah, we're awesome. We don't, with that, you want to poke fun and make jokes? Go ahead. We don't give a damn. We built Rome, kiss my ass. I just think that's a great attitude to have. And the tracksuit, I believe helps in that. What am I going to not be comfortable? What are you, crazy? What am I going to button more buttons? What are you, nuts? I'm comfortable. Anyway, don't censor the truth. What the hell? Kevin, thank you for joining us. My dad rocks New Balance sneaks, says April. My dad rocks New Balance sneaks. It cracks me up, and he still wears his old Marine Corps glasses. That's great. Samplify. You guys are just fantastic. Forever bother the Italians. Fuji. That's one of my favorite lines. I first heard that line. Here we go, the stereotype. In the movie Gotti, Armand Asante played John Gotti. I think it was in an HBO movie. And I remember that one of the first times the FBI contacted John Gotti, there was an Italian guy, Grasso, I think his name was. And, or was that a guy from Sopranos? Anyway, but the FBI guy goes up to John Gotti in the movie, and he says something to him, and he says his last name. I'm detective, whatever, or agent, whatever. And it's an Italian last name. And Gotti goes, you know what FBI stands for? Forever bother the Italians. And I was like, that's pretty funny. But that was a stupid story. Sorry. Anyway, thanks everyone participating in the chat. Thanks to everyone that does participate in the chat. The chat check. You guys are fantastic. I cannot thank you guys enough. Let me hit some of our other fine sponsors, like the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line that Derek Gunn's going to be joining us on momentarily. Let me tell you about the great people of Rothman Orthopaedics and how awesome they are. They're just fantastic. And I thank them again for following the show and being a part of this show. They have done phenomenal things in our community, and I appreciate everything that they've done for this particular program. But remember the old you? The one that didn't have to put up a fickle knee, a finicky hip, a bum shoulder, whatever it is. Check out the people at Rothman Orthopaedics, because the Rothman approach to orthopedics is what you need. Go to RothmanOrtho.com. Same-day appointments are available right now, so you can get started right now on getting back to being you, back to working, back to playing, back to running, back to living your life the way you want. With Rothman Orthopaedics, they can get you started doing that. RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Same-day appointments available. Make sure you let the good people of Rothman take care of you the way they took care of me and my family. That's RothmanOrtho.com, the official orthopedic partner of your Sixers, Eagles, and Flyers. That's RothmanOrtho.com. How about the amazing people at WinView? Challenge a friend or family member to WinView and see if they can walk the walk with their sports trash talk, as well as they talk the talk with their sports trash talk. WinView is a social gaming app where fans can take on other fans and win real money prizes for making predictions on the games that you love so much. So do what I do and use WinView for some great bets and great challenges amongst your friends. Joel Embiid's over. Keep on hitting that on WinView. Keep on hitting it and have yourself some fun. Have somebody that hates Joel Embiid. Oh, get under the basket, Embiid. Well, challenge him to a WinView contest. All right. That's how you can win some money on making a prediction of the game and the player that you love so much. WinView, download the WinView app to your phone right now. Have yourself a good time. How about the great people at PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing a Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PhiladelphiaSportsNation.com. Ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to change things up a little bit. We had talked to Derek Gunn about all things Philadelphia Eagles, where the Eagles are with Jalen Hurts, where Doug Peterson could land, Andy Reid, Kansas City Chiefs, who he blames more for that loss. Talked about a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm going to say have a great day right now. We're going to close with this nice interview from Derek Gunn, who fills us in on everything Philadelphia Eagles. But once again, guys, it's been just a blast of a year. Jim Hyden has done a phenomenal job producing this show and other projects we've worked on, Farzy features that we've run, like LaSalle Baseball, for instance, the Ertz Family Foundation, special features like that. PJ's done a great job with. Producer Jim, as he's become known. PJ's become known in the chat. And, of course, once again, my thanks to Josh Weinfeld of Buzz Sports and Entertainment for helping us put this show together. It's been just a great year, and I only look forward to growing this show more. And as I've said before many times throughout the first year, when people are like, what do you about this? Do you want to do that? Do you want to do this? Like, this is my job. This is what I do. I have a real fun side project that I look forward to talking to you guys about in the not too distant future that I can give more details on later. But this is my job. This is what I do. And I love every second of it. And once again, I will thank Marc Zumoff for convincing me not to move to Italy. Anyway, and that's a real thing, by the way. So thank you to all those great people. Thank you to Steven Singer. This is the Steven Singer Studios. And once again, thank you to our brand new presenting sponsor, the great people of Destination Retirement, Mike Siebert especially. Thanks, everybody. Stay tuned for this great interview we have with Derek Gunn, the Gunfather himself. Talks all things Eagles. Talk to you guys live again, hopefully tomorrow. We'll play it by ear. We'll keep you posted. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Here's Gunner. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line, a man who I miss. I talk to him every Sunday after an Eagles game with the Jacob Media YouTube page. We're doing a little post-game show. You know him as Derek Gunn. I know him as
Are you serious?
Wait for it. There it is. Derek Gunn, the Gunfather, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, Gunner?
How you doing, new daddy? How's the newborn?
He's amazing. He's so unbelievably chill. He's nothing like his father in that regard.
Thank God.
Beautiful hair. Gunner, he's got beautiful hair, my friend. Gorgeous.
Thank God he's got hair.
He's got like hockey hair. It's so beautiful. Flowing.
Unlike us who are follically challenged.
Yes, exactly. As Jason Avant likes to say, we keep the sunroof open.
That's right. That's exactly right.
No, but thank you for asking. We're over the moon with this kid. We love little Leo Lou, our boy. Yeah, man, it's crazy. But you know, he's speaking already, and he said, Daddy, if you want a good guest, get the Gunfather. And I said, you're damn right. And then he pulled out the music box and he started playing, and I go, all right, and then you've proven your point. Okay, let me ask you this right out of the gate here, because before we talk Eagles, you covered Andy Reid for a long time. Remember that guy, red hair, big red?
Oh,
all right.
Yeah.
So, Patrick Mahomes or Andy Reid? Who gets more of the blame for the Kansas City Chiefs watching the upcoming Super Bowl in 2 weeks?
I would say Patrick Mahomes. We've been so amazed with his ability, his escapability in situations, and I think especially when a game was on the line, he tried to do a little bit too much in situations. I think they tell you throw the ball away and live to play another day. And I know he was trying to extend plays. Cincinnati did a great job of covering all the spots, all the zones, and not giving him any options. But especially that last one when they made the field goal to send it to overtime. But you gotta know that's the rookie mistake. You got to know to get rid of the ball. You can't take sacks in situations like that. Mm-hmm. And so I would have to say, in a lot of ways, the Mahomes gets more of the blame than Andy Reid does.
I agree, and I tend to go more towards players than coaches in general. Yeah. But Andy Reid, I thought it was a bad play call, bad play design at the end of the first half. It was compounded by Patrick Mahomes actually throwing the football in the flat with 5 seconds, no timeouts in the end zone right there, and he could have just thrown it away. Right. And then I thought Patrick Mahomes at the end of that second half, like you said, he just took a bunch of bad sacks, including the fumble, had a couple of picks that were tipped. So I definitely look at the player more so than Andy Reid. Even though as a Philadelphia Eagle fan, I look at Andy Reid and I want to blame him more because that's the hot take. That's the piping hot take here. Sure. But I just, in all honesty, I can't look our audience in the eye and say, oh, no, that was Andy Reid's fault. I can't do that. I definitely look at Patrick Mahomes more. Joe Burrow versus Matthew Stafford. This is going to be I think it's going to be a real fun Super Bowl. Guys getting after it. I feel like it is going to be an air out type of game. Your early preview of this Super Bowl, what are you thinking?
Wow. Well, the fact that Cincinnati is there, they got past the number 5, the number 2, and the number 1 seeds to get there. And you look at the manner in which they did it. Now, when it comes to the Raiders in Kansas City, they beat both of them in Week 11 and Week 17 of the season. And you're thinking, okay, here's a team that 2 years ago won just 2 games. And all of a sudden, they're in the Super Bowl all of a sudden, which goes to show you if you get that so-called franchise quarterback and if you build the team properly around a young quarterback like that, you can do some great things. But the fact that Cincinnati is even in the Super Bowl is just a testament to just how crazy the season has been in general, and especially the playoffs. You go back to the divisional round of the playoffs, the greatest weekend of playoffs I've ever seen in my life. And I've been around a long time. I've seen a lot of football, the greatest play. And then you look at the unpredictability of what happened in that 49ers-Rams game when 49ers could have won that game had the DB not dropped the ball, and gave Rams another chance to keep going. And sure enough, they put points on the board, and all of a sudden the momentum's in their favor. But as I look at this early on, Sean McVay is an incredible coach. And obviously Zach Taylor is turning out to be an incredible coach as well. I just think this is the Rams' time. They sold the farm. They basically this year have used the blueprint of what the Patriots would do. The Patriots never cared about having first-round draft picks. If they could get a player they wanted to fill the void, that's exactly what they did. So the Rams go out, last year they get a Jalen Ramsey. Now they go out, they get a Von Miller. They bring in an Odell Beckham Jr., so on and so forth. They just got everything that they need. I think Cooper Kupp is unstoppable, as is Jamar Chase. Matthew Stafford now has a chance to get that proverbial monkey off his back of being a perennial loser with the Detroit Lions. I mean, he's made some big throws throughout the playoffs. And I just think the tenacity of the Rams defense will be a little bit too much, although I was very impressed with how Cincinnati, after giving up 9 sacks to Tennessee, came back, only gave up 1 sack to the Kansas City Chiefs defense. I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. Both teams have incredible skill position talent. But I just think this is the Rams' time, and I think Sean McVay finally gets his first Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, I early prediction for me is I agree with that. I'm rooting for the Bengals, though. I got to be honest, because I am pretty amazed by Joe Burrow and the way he's played. And not just him, but his entire offense. It's just so much fun to watch. Jamar Chase, of course, and it makes you think about the Eagles trading back a little bit. But it's an interesting case right now. What are you making of Joe Burrow and that Cincinnati offense?
That offense, when it's clicking, man, it's a thing of beauty to watch. And especially the Burrow to Jamar Chase combo as one of the best combos in the National Football League. You know, obviously they had a lot of history together in college, and now it's carried over in the pros. I just can't say enough about the diversity of the offense and their ability to sustain drives. I mean, when you look at the playoffs, they control the clock. They don't make many mistakes on offense, and they can beat you in so many ways. The third down percentage is incredible for a young team that's still trying to find its way. Man, they don't rattle. They fall behind. They don't rattle. They come back. They find a way to beat you. I mean, they've won their playoff games by 7, 3, and 3 points. I mean, what else do you want from a team? I mean, if they're a nervous team, they should play poker because they've got the perfect poker faces. You can't tell when they're nervous when they fall behind.
Yeah, and Joe Burrow's got all the poker glasses that you would need.
Oh,
I mean, the pink tint, you know, he's fine. You would never know what his eyes are saying.
But you know what? When you look at the Cincinnati team, you know, nobody ever expected them to be this far. That's what I love about the NFL. You know, the league for years has wanted parity. And over the last 10 years in particular, they've had that parity. You know, you don't know who's up and who's down year in and year out. And it goes to show you that you don't have to take 4 or 5 years to rebuild a team. You can rebuild a team in a couple of years, as the Cincinnati Bengals have done.
Mm-hmm. No question. So you mentioned that whole thing about the whole elite quarterback thing, and you got a couple of teams that are in the Super Bowl right now with some elite quarterbacks. Are the Eagles an elite quarterback away from being a contender? Do they have too many holes? Like if they were to get a guy like Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, all the names you know, if they were to get an elite quarterback, are they a Super Bowl contender?
If the roster stayed the same, no. Even if they had an elite quarterback would make them a better team, would probably make them a playoff team, but I don't think they would be considered that so-called Super Bowl team. I still think they need another wide receiver to complement, you know, Devonta Smith. I think they need to get another edge rusher because I don't think Derek Barnett's going to be here. I like Josh Sweat. Brandon Graham should be back, but when you're 33, 34 years old coming back from Achilles, it's not quite the same as a guy in his 20s. They need linebacking help desperately. They need another young cornerback to complement Darius Slay. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get all of that in the offseason and free agency, players they can plug and play right away. They're coming out from under that Carson Wentz dark cloud of a cap restraint. The cap is supposed to go up about $208, $209 million. So they're going to have some cap room to play. And Howie Roseman loves a wheel and deal in free agency. I think he's going to get a couple of pieces that he wants. He has the 3 first-round picks. If he kept those 3 first-round picks, you know I've gone on many platforms many times over the last month, and I've said I would use all 3 of those for defense. I would try to find a receiver, a veteran receiver in free agency to complement Devonta Smith and use those 3 first-round picks to try to build. You have to get, if you keep those 3 first-round picks, you have to get at least 2 starters right away out of this coming draft. And I think there's enough defensive talent to do that. And so I would hone in on the defense. You look at what the Dallas Cowboys did last year in the draft. They used their first 6 picks for defense. Now, Dallas's defense wasn't a so-called shutdown defense, but it was a much better defense compared to what it was in 2020. So I do believe the Eagles, with the right strategic moves in the offseason and in free agency in the draft, can make this a better team if Howie Roseman plays his cards right.
So looking at the quarterback right now for the Eagles and Jalen Hurts, what kind of leap do you need to see in year 2 of him as a starter, assuming he does get that year, in order to say, forget about year 2 now, he's the franchise guy moving forward? What kind of leap do you need to see from him?
Well, he's got to learn to read the field better. I think he has a deficiency there. More accuracy for sure. He's never going to be a so-called strong arm quarterback. He's not the strongest of arms. He's got an average arm at best. You can tell on his deep balls a lot of times. But I just think his ability to read the field a little bit better is first and foremost should be his priority. And I think also a priority should be his ability to stay in the pocket a little bit longer. Don't be so quick to go outside of the pocket and just take off and run. Stay in the pocket a little bit longer and wait till one of your receivers free themselves up. I do think Quez Watkins has great potential. You know, we still don't know what John Hightower is. You know, we didn't see much of him. You know, we know what he has in Dallas Goedert. I think the kid Tyree Jackson is going to be a good player if he comes back. You know, here's a guy started the season on IR. He comes back, tears up his knee, and he's gone. I think this kid has a lot of potential as well as a number 2 tight end. So there are some pieces to work with. The offensive line is going to be okay. Even if Brandon Brooks, I mean, you look at the way it played without Brandon Brooks this year. Jeff Stoutland did an incredible job. He's a miracle worker in terms of making an offensive lineman interchangeable parts. You know, you've got Seumalo out, you got Opeta in, you got Driscoll over here, you had Landon Dickerson starting on the right side, move it over to the left side. You know, Lane Johnson was out for several games and put another tackle in there. Mulatto was out a few games, and they played pretty well. I think the running game is going to be their bread and butter game. And, you know, if you add a couple of pieces on the outside to that to make it more efficient, this Eagles team is going to be fun to watch.
Just to stick with this for a second here with the quarterback, and the last thing I'll ask you about Jalen Hurts per se. But when you do look at those other quarterbacks, what are you uncomfortable parting with if the Eagles decide to trade for? And this has to be on their terms as well. But if the Eagles trade for a Wilson, you know, all the names you know,
right?
All 3 first-round picks, 2 first-round picks. What's about right?
You'll probably have to give up 2 first-round picks to get them, and I'd hate to see them give up the higher 2 first-round picks. I think if they can keep that highest first-round pick and get a plug-and-play player right away, I think that would behoove them to do that and still attack free agency and get some of the pieces you need. You're not going to get everything you need, but get some of the pieces you need to help make this product overall a better product. If you get that elite quarterback in here, okay, as long as you don't have to give up all 3 first-round picks. You look at Russell Wilson, you know, Aaron Rodgers is 38. First of all, I don't think an Aaron Rodgers is coming here. He's already said he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild anywhere, and that includes Green Bay. And if you look at the Eagles, I don't think they're rebuilding, but I do think they're retooling in a lot of ways. Russell Wilson's what, like 34 now? You look at the season he's coming off of, and obviously he had the finger injury for a while. You know, people are saying Russell Wilson is in decline. I don't believe that. I still think Russell Wilson is one of the better quarterbacks in the National Football League. But I don't know if I would be willing to give up, you know, 2 first-round picks for Russell Wilson. I know a lot of fans are clamoring for him. And a lot of people are still looking at Deshaun Watson. But until he gets his legal matters cleared up, do you want that hovering over your head as well? So that's why I've been adamant about saying, give Jalen Hurts a second year in Nick Sirianni's offense. Nick Sirianni, from the time the season ended, should be looking at his playbook and streamlining his playbook even more than he did in 2021 to fit Jalen Hurts' strengths and to make Jalen Hurts a more efficient quarterback. You don't have to have the strongest arm in the National Football League to be an efficient quarterback. You know, you look at a lot of these quarterbacks nowadays who dink and dunk their way down the field. Jalen Hurts can do that. He can get better in the intermediate passing game. He has a strong enough arm for the intermediate passing game. He automatically strikes fear into defenses because of his ability to take off, which causes, you know, linebackers and safeties and cornerbacks to freeze for a moment when he floats outside their pocket. So he has the ability to have a very efficient game in the intermediate game. I just think that he needs to work on that a little bit more, as well as reading defenses and not being so skittish in the pocket.
So we watched Jamar Chase in this whole playoff run, and I love Jamar Chase. He's incredible. If he is 100%, let's say that he's the top-notch guy, right? If he's 10 out of 10, we'll say. How good do you think, or how close can Devontae Smith get there with a quarterback that is more of the throwing ilk?
Wow. Well, you look at Devontae Smith. He had 960-something yards receiving this year. He broke Deshaun Jackson's rookie record. And, you know, he hasn't really tapped into everything that he's capable of being. So if you improve Jalen Hurts as a quarterback, is automatically going to help improve Devontae Smith's numbers. I don't know if a Devontae Smith will ever be on the same plane as a Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is a bigger receiver. and a little bit more physical receiver. Devontae Smith's claim to fame is being an incredible route runner, his ability to get separation. I think Devontae Smith has some work to do still in terms of fighting off press coverage. Sometimes he got locked up with DBs a little bit too much. And once a defense can if the word gets out that, hey, you can lock this guy up and knock him off his spot, that makes his job a little bit more difficult. But I think Devontae just needs to get a little bit stronger. I think he has all the attributes to be a Pro Bowl type receiver, multiple times in his career. But those are little things that he has to work on. But it starts with the quarterback. If the quarterback gets a little bit better, a little bit more accurate, it's going to help Devontae Smith get more recognition across the league.
Doug Peterson's about to interview again for the Jacksonville Jaguars job. Is that a fit? Where do you think Doug would fit in the best around the league?
You know what? I think Doug could go in anywhere and fit in. He's such a good players coach. He's a good quarterback type coach. If you go to a Jacksonville, you got one of the best young quarterbacks in the game who struggled this year in Trevor Lawrence. If the ownership down there does the right thing, as Cincinnati did, bring the right pieces in to complement Trevor Lawrence, I think Jacksonville can turn it around real quick down there. They have some talent. They were just inconsistent with it. And obviously the quarterback struggled a lot more than he ever had in his collegiate career. Doug Peterson could go to Houston. He could go to, Jacksonville. He can go to a number of places and succeed, even in Houston. If Doug Peterson is given a time to turn the culture around down in Houston, Doug Peterson is capable of also turning around the culture down there.
You know what I'm going to say? What if Jonathan Gannon gets that job over Doug Peterson? What if they were both finalists? That
just goes to show you that if they hire Jonathan Gannon, then that franchise is destined to be a dark entity in the National Football League for a long time. I don't like to sit here and knock Jonathan Gannon. The fact that he's getting interviews is shocking in itself when you consider how his defense played. Now, they didn't play badly, but when a defensive coordinator comes out of his mouth early in the season and says, I don't have a scheme, I have a philosophy. And you're sitting there going, what? So it changes week to week. That's a red flag for me. And the fact that he's even getting interviews, I'm just sitting here shocked. So if Houston would hire Jonathan Gannon over Doug Peterson, you know what? More power to you, because you're going to have a long, dark history for many years to come. You like that. I don't want to say it, but you made me say it. You made me say it.
Yee, reel it in, my friend. Reel it in. This is what happened. Brandon Brooks. How much will the Eagles miss him? Two things really on him. What sticks out to you about Brandon Brooks' career here in Philadelphia, because you covered him for a long time? And then also, how much will the Eagles miss him at right guard next year? Because as great as he was, I think they're going to be okay offensive line-wise.
When he came here from Houston, he was a very good right guard. Jeff Stoutland coached him up and made him a perennial Pro Bowl right guard, and Brandon is first and foremost to admit, Jeff Stoutland took his game to another level. When you have a Pro Bowler like that, obviously you're going to miss him. But Jeff Stoutland's ability, as I said earlier, to plug and play players anywhere, I think the offensive line is going to be fine. You look at the numbers they put up in the running game without a Brandon Brooks, and it tells you that they're going to be fine. With Jeff Stoutland loves Jack Driscoll, and so I think Driscoll's going to be his pet project this offseason in terms of getting that young man, coached up the right way to plug and play him in on the right side as well. Unless they draft a right guard high enough, which wouldn't surprise me considering some of the drafts that Howie Roseman has had, But I think their offensive line is going to be fine. You're going to get Sayamalo back healthy. You have Asua Opeta there. You have Driscoll, Nate Herbig. You have these guys that you can switch around and plug and play. As long as Jason Kelce comes back to play in the middle, you got Lane Johnson on the right side. Jordan Mailata has emerged as one of the best left tackles in the game. I think that offensive line is going to be just fine.
All right, and again, part of that question, Brandon Brooks, and how you'll remember him as a Philadelphia Eagle.
You know what? He's the consummate professional, both on and off the field. He just happens to be from my hometown, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So I have a fondness for him.
Yeah.
But he's such a down-to-earth guy. The fact that he opened up and now is a big advocate for mental health tells you a lot about his characters. There are a lot of players out there that still refuse to talk about some of the inner struggles they go through. But Brandon Brooks has come out and he's inspired people in terms of, hey, look, just because we're these gladiators doesn't mean, we're invincible. We have feelings too. We have problems too. We're just put on a bigger pedestal than everybody else. And so, the fact that he addressed that issue, he attacked the issue, he's controlling that issue. The fact that he was gracious to everybody who stepped to his locker. He talked to people off the field as well. I just think I wish there were many more Brandon Brooks in the National Football League. Obviously, at some point in his career, he got it. He understood that, hey, look, we are professionals. Our time is limited, but people want to talk to us. People want to get to know us. People want to meet us. And, it is part of their job responsibility, to extend themselves a little bit and mingle, with the people who buy their jerseys, who go to games and spend, a lot of money to see their favorite players play. And Brandon Brooks was everything that you want in a professional, both on and off the field.
I could not agree more, my friend. I know we'll be fishing at some point in this offseason, and I'll show you what I can do out there as an angler. All right?
Wait.
Angler.
When you say that we'll be fishing, yes, you'll be fishing in one part of the country. I'll be fishing in another part of the country. I don't know if the two shall ever meet. Yeah. I am not destined to get hooked in the butt or the eye or the arm. I'm not saying you would do it deliberately.
Right.
I'm just saying that, there's a part of me that knows that when you fish with the novice, you're always ducking and weaving and bobbing, and I don't know if I want to do that at this stage of my life.
For the people listening to the podcast and not watching, I hit my desk and hit a wire and knocked my camera out.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck's going on? Were you telling me, will you cut me off so I couldn't finish my statement or what?
Because I'm getting my kayak and I'm kayaking my ass down there to see you, and we're ready to go fishing. No, I can see. Here's what I'm going to do. Next time I'm out fishing, I'm going to FaceTime you. All right? And I'm going to tell you I'm recording it. Okay. Actually, I don't think I can FaceTime and record at the same time. But anyway, I'll hit you up. I'll send you a link for the show, and we'll record a little segment where you critique me as a fisherman. All right?
Okay. All right. That sounds good. I would love to do that.
Ladies and gentlemen,
there is something wrong with you. I think you have issues.
The Gunfather.
Hey, can you get me one of those?
I want to let you know that it brings me joy to know that it annoys you a little bit.
I'm sitting there going, what is wrong with him? But then again, don't ever change.
We will never. Thank you, brother. The great Derek Gunn, the Gunfather himself. Make sure you guys catch him. Gun on One. Follow him on social media. Obviously, if you're not doing that, are you even an Eagles fan? Gunner, thanks so much, brother. Appreciate you.
Hey, before I go, I just want to say, hey, congratulations to you and your wife.
Thank you, brother.
Many blessings to you on the new addition to your family. And I hope it's just the second of maybe 8 or 9 more to come.
We should be so lucky. The world needs more Farzettas. Not necessarily more Marc Farzettas, just more Farzettas. Gunner, thank you, brother. From the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line, the great Derek Gunn. Thanks, brother.
Yep, you're welcome, brother. Anytime.